Well, we agreed before tonight that we were not going to introduce dignitaries, and then former Supervisor Marion Ashley walked in, and I realized we're going to introduce some dignitaries tonight. Supervisor, thank you for being here. This is a momentous event. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. We also have tonight Assemblywoman Melissa Melendez. Thank you for being here. Supervisor Jeff Hewitt, thank you for your attendance. And we have representatives from the City of Canyon Lake, the City of Murrieta, the City of Lake Elsinore, the City of Indio, Senator Jeff Stone's office, Congressman Ken Calvert's office, and the Western Municipal Water District. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it very much. And since this is an event commemorating the appointment of our first police chief, I would like to recognize the law enforcement dignitaries in the room. Huntington Beach Police Chief Rob Handy, thank you for being here. Corona Police Chief George Johnstone, thank you for being here. Corona Captain and former Interim Police Chief for the City of Corona, James Patton, good friend. California Highway Patrol Border Division Temecula Station Captain Karen Mentick. From the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, my good friend Sheriff Chad Bianco. You'll have the opportunity to hear from Sheriff Bianco in a few minutes. From his administration, Assistant Sheriff Raul Vergara. Formerly with the Murrieta Police Department, Assistant Sheriff Dennis Vrooman. Murrieta Police Captain Rob Firms and Lieutenant Ron Driscoll. Thank you for being here. Those are not members of the Sheriff's command staff. Those were the next people on my list. The Sheriff's command staff who are here are Assistant, did I already? Yeah, I mentioned the Assistant Sheriffs. Chief Deputies, Matt Aveling, good to see you again, Matt. Ed Delgado, and Joe Pemberton. I think we've got that just about covered. It's my honor tonight to welcome all of you here and invite Menifee Mayor Bill Zimmerman to this podium to say a few words. Thank you, Bill.
Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate the invitation. And, you know, it's just exciting to join all of you guys here today. This is a special day. It's a historic day here in Menifee. And we're pleased that you are here to help us welcome our new Chief of Police, Pat Walsh, and his wife, Catherine. Let's give him a hand. Today is one of those milestones along the way that my colleagues and I, our city council, and this management team had resolved to do. And I'm really proud of this team for making that initial decision to form a municipal police department. You know, it's possibly the biggest decision that this city council here in Menifee will ever make. And after a very comprehensive review and fully vetting the feasibility study, we realized that we can accomplish two things. We can save taxpayers money, and we can improve the level of service. And, you know, after all, those are our two top priorities, is public safety and being prudent with your money. So it's time to shift gears now, and it's time to give some encouragement and all of the tools that our Chief Walsh is going to need to build a very top-notch police department for the people who live here in Menifee. At this time, I'd like our city council members who are here to come up on the stage and join me, and I think they have a few words to say as well, so let's make them feel welcome. This is Councilman Matt Leesmeyer representing District 2.
Thanks, sir. Wow, what a turnout. This is something else. Very proud day for the city of Menifee. I want to thank everyone for coming out here today to celebrate another great step in what's quickly going to become the buzz in the state, not just our own region. Starting a police department is a very complex task, which can be sometimes very polarizing and also very politically charged. It's rare to see a city break away from a county contract and start their own department. It's no secret at this point that I'm probably the single most important, this is the single most important topic I've been pushing for since election in 2014. Sorry about that. To get where we are today, though, however, there have been a lot of challenges and naysayers that said it can't be done. Politically charged roadblocks are around every corner. The scales tipped in our favor when the costs continued to rise at an unsustainable rate for our city. It was not a matter of how or if, it was when, because as a council, we knew that the current model was eventually going to break us financially. You see, it's no longer about what the costs were to get our own department going. It became, how are we going to keep it going forward with the way things are right now? We're just spending money at an unsustainable pace. Thankfully for the residents of the city of Menifee, we approved unanimously, about 60%. Measure DD gave us the city more breathing room financially, and so we could take the time to explore all of our options for delivering resources that the people have been asking for. That small 1% sales tax on the goods that people buy in our city is so vital to the great things our city is doing right now. Speaking specifically to the challenge in leadership, none of this would have been possible without our city manager, Armando Villa. He is the one responsible for charging the staff with the direction to chase down the statistics, crunch the numbers, and create the path to implement our vision. Through this collaborative effort, they brought us Pat Walsh. Thank you, Pat. Thank you to Armando and all the staff who've been working, whom without your effort, this would not be possible. And of course, with the change in leadership here, as a team, this council has moved forward and made it our priority. And for that, I am truly thankful for our council and our colleagues, for we all share the same passion for the public safety of the city of Menifee. Thank you.
Where's my notes? There they are. I don't want to forget anyone. Pat, Catherine, I want you to look around this room. I want you to look at all the people who are here tonight. There are people here from businesses. There are residents here. There's leaders here from the school district, from our Parks and Trail Commission, Planning Commission, Senior Advisory Committee. We have staff members here. I've met wonderful people already tonight who have come here tonight from other cities because of you. And I've heard over and over that we have the right person for our city, the right time. I want to thank our residents, as Councilmember Leesmeyer said, for Measure DD, for approving that. We heard you, and we know that public safety is your priority. It's ours as well. I want to thank Tom Hicks for the study that he did way back during our interim city manager time, and for Bill Murray and Associates, who helped us find you. I want to thank Dave Brown for the work that he's been doing. I want to thank our city staff, including Assistant Manager Jeff Wyman, Charles, all of our city staff who've been part of this. There's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And as Matt mentioned, I have to tell you, when Armando started his first day, I believe it was, Matt threw a notebook on his desk and said, "This is our priority." That was the research done by the Hicks group. So thank you, Councilmember Leesmeyer. I want to thank, in the audience tonight, we have our past council member, John Denver. It's been a 3-year process, at least, that we've been working on this, and I want to thank him for his support and for my current colleagues as well. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department for teaching me a little bit about what community policing is like by giving us, a couple of years ago, after DD passed, our first community service officers, Deputy Rice and Deputy Lamb, who've taught me what it's like to have police that are here every day working for our citizens and showing me what a whole police department could look like, a bunch of Deputy Rices and Lambs. At this time, I want to thank Pat Walsh for applying for this position, for coming to the city of Menifee. I understand we have the right person for the right time. Now, you could not do this job if you did not have the love and support of a spouse. So at this time, I would like to present Catherine with these flowers on behalf of our city council and welcome you and your husband to the city of Menifee.
Well, now I see what the disadvantage of being District 4, the last one. Most of the thank yous are already said and whatnot, but let me just add that I want to thank the residents, not just for being here tonight and supporting our new chief, but also for supporting the city as we started this endeavor. I'd like to thank for the vision that the city council had before I got here, that They took that big leap of faith, and here we are tonight. I'd also like to thank the sheriff. Even though our relationship will change, I still look forward to a good relationship with them going forward. They've kept our city safe. They've served us well. The men and women that patrolled our streets were some of the best that you could ask for. I appreciate that. And lastly, I'd like to thank the staff for all their hard work and having to put up with the council and all the demands that they had. And lastly, and most important, the Walshes welcome to Menifee. We look forward to great things in the future.
Well said by my colleagues. You know, and I appreciate that Councilmember Sobek mentioned Tom Hicks. He did a great job on the feasibility study. Tom, just wave so everybody sees who you are. Thank you for your good job. All right, with that, I'm going to hand it back over to our city manager or to Dave Brown, whoever's up. Here's Dave sneaking up behind me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you're not aware, California state law gives the exclusive authority to the city manager or city administrator in a contract or in a general law city to appoint the police chief. And so the man who made that decision is up next. It's our city manager, Armando Villa. It's a great drink. I don't know if you've had it.
Thank you. Yeah, I spent a lot of sleepless nights thinking about this. And let me tell you, I sleep a lot better today because we picked the right guy. So I want to thank you all for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to celebrate with us. One important milestone for us, one of the most important milestones is in the process of forming our own police department. But I want to remind you all about the process. It is true, Matt dropped a book about this thick on my desk on day one, and the council as a whole told me that's our priority, for you to look at that to see if it's feasible. And it took probably Saturday and a Sunday to go through that book. And when I came to work on Monday, I was like, we're doing this because it could be done. So thank you, the council, for that leadership and that directive. So this wasn't an easy process for me. As I told you before, I spent, and when I say I spent countless hours not sleeping about this, is because the responsibility to select the first chief was a very important decision for me. And when I tell you I'm sleeping a lot better today, it is true. I sleep a lot better today. But back in January, we had a workshop. I was really interested in knowing from the community about the attributes of our police chief. I felt that the decision was too big for me to make, so I wanted to invite the public to be part of this. So we held a workshop, and after 2 hours of hearing from the community, I walked out of that meeting with four things that I heard that resonated with me. That were important attributes of a chief, and what I heard was, we need a person that has leadership skills. We need a visionary. We need an innovator, and an accessible person. Well, I'm here to tell you all we found our guy. So Pat fits all of those attributes very well. And Pat had to go through a very enduring process of the selection process. It was a 2-day process where he met for an hour with industry professionals, police chief, city manager, the district attorney, and a former police chief. And he had to do it all over again with the community panel, which included community leaders. And then he got to do it all over again the next day to come back and endure our executive team, which is all here, by the way. Thank you for helping me make this selection. And I'm here to tell you that at just about every step of the way, Pat surfaced to the top. So it was an easy decision for me to make. So thank you for that. And I'm here to tell you we found our guy. So, before I ask Pat to come up, I want to thank the council for having the political fortitude to get this done and for allowing me this huge responsibility of forming our own police. But I couldn't take all the credit. I want to give credit to Jeff Wyman and Charles Berglund and our Chief Brown for helping us with this process. This is not an easy task. It requires a lot of skill sets, a lot of brains working together to row in the same direction. So I want to give a shout out to those individuals because they do represent an important component of our process. And then lastly, like the council mentioned, we want to give the citizens of Menifee a shout out and a thank you for approving Measure DD. Without Measure DD, we couldn't make this happen. This became a very important component of us being able to even plan to have our own police department, having the funding necessary to do so. So, citizens of Menifee, thank you very much. You will have, thank you, a much safer community. So, without further ado, I'd like to ask Pat to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
I had to make my own notes. A councilwoman had her notes here. I didn't think about that. Before I start, I know my wife has been introduced, but I just want to say that my wife and I we're high school sweethearts. We've been married 34 years. I think it's going to work. And she said, you know, I'll go back to the desert if you could buy a house that has a pool in it. So we're working on that. My father-in-law, Les Rushing, is here, and my mother-in-law, Susan Rushing, is here as well. Great supporters of my wife and I, and thank you for being here today. I too want to echo to the council. It took a lot of courage to do what you've done, and thank you, City Manager Villa, for selecting me. You forgot that you and I had breakfast. That was actually more grueling than the panels. Especially when I thought I was at the wrong place for about 15 minutes. So, but thank you for hiring me, and I will not let you down. So, I just, you know, I'm not from Menifee. I'll just be upfront with that. But you need to know that everybody's talking about Menifee, not just the police department, but about your city. And so, you know, and I'm part of a lot of groups that are statewide, California Police Chiefs Association, and all of us chiefs kind of talk and lament together and collaborate together. And Menifee keeps coming up, and now that you're doing this, it's a big deal. This is a big deal. I feel a lot of pressure, but the city manager has put together this incredible team. Dave Brown is a prince. Charles, where are you at, Charles? Charles is amazing. The city staff have been incredible, and they're on board. They're ready to do this, and so as a team, we're going to go forward, and we're going to pick really great people. I think that it's important that you know my vision for the police department. Here we have an opportunity to create the culture we want. And so when you take over a police department as a chief, it's kind of neat. You're the chief, you get this police department, but you've inherited, you know, this police department that's already running, and that's not a bad thing. But here we get to start our own police department. So, you know, I want officers that are innovative, are technologically savvy, so they can help me. But I want them to think outside the box, and I want them to communicate a lot. You know, in my career, I found that if you just talk to people, then they don't make up their own mind about what's going on. You know, if you're at a murder scene and it's very dramatic, and I'll look around, if there's a couple officers standing around waiting for a job, I'll say, go talk to everybody. Tell them everything's under control and we've got this. My philosophy is that we need to go to as much as we can. You know, get to the Rotary Club, go to the churches if they want us to come talk, Boys and Girls Club, because we don't do our job without the community helping us. You know, they're not going to cooperate. They're not going to tell us what's going on. They're not going to know how to get a hold of us and tell us what's going on. So my philosophy is community policing, but you won't hear me say that a lot because we're just going to do it. And we're going to pick the right kind of people, and they're going to do it as well. You know, and then what I'll say is I'm going to be out as much, and if you have a group and you want me to come, just you know where I work. I don't have my cards yet, but I will come and talk to you and answer any questions. In that vein, we're going to start our first town hall. It's going to be April 23rd at 6 p.m. And Gina, tell me where it's at again. Thank you. So I'm available after this to mingle and talk. I've met a bunch of people in here, and I apologize. I'll forget your name, but I'm here. So thank you guys for having me, and thank you for hiring me, Armando Villa, and let's build a police department.
Stay up here with me, please.
Yeah.
Stay here. How about that? I'm going to go off script a minute, and I want you all to listen. I was a chief once, so you have to listen to what I say. Every uniformed personnel in the room, would you please join us on stage? I'd appreciate that very much. Show your support. All the uniformed personnel. And while they're making their way up, I have the distinct honor of doing something that I've actually been looking forward to doing for about 18 months, and that is to introduce to you the new sheriff of Riverside County, the 14th sheriff of Riverside County, our good friend, Sheriff Chad Bianco.
Thanks, Dave. I'm very honored to be here, and the beauty thing for me, the good thing for me about coming here was that I didn't have to give a speech. And then my former friend, Chief Dave Brown, told me that I had to give a speech. So I'm going to make it short and quick and to the point. I am very, very humbled to be here tonight and welcome our newest Chief of Police into Riverside County law enforcement. We had in the early introductions, Chief Hamner from Banning showed up that did not get introduced. So really, our newest chief of an already department is here tonight, and our newest chief of a new department still in the making is here tonight. So I'm happy for that. And what I want to, I don't want to get into politics here, but somebody already mentioned it, and I'm not even sure which one of you it was, but I heard someone else saying it in the audience tonight. Law enforcement, we are not politicians. We are law enforcement officers. And I want to assure all of you that he and I are not politicians. And we are here, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and your new Chief of Police are here to make sure that your new police department goes off without a hitch. So the thing about moving away and the bad blood, please don't talk about that anymore, because that's a political thing. That's not a law enforcement thing. You guys are the most important thing to us, and we are going to make sure that you are successful in your police department, that our new chief is successful, and I am proud to welcome him on behalf of Riverside County Law Enforcement, DA Hestron, and our two chiefs of police from Riverside County that are here tonight. Welcome into Riverside County Law Enforcement. It's going to be a good run.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Don't they look great? We'll just leave them up here for a while in case you want to take pictures of them. But that concludes our formal presentation tonight. Chief Walsh will be here probably until about 11:30 if you'd like to get to know him and his family. But please enjoy some refreshments. I want to remind you about his first town hall meeting, which he announced tonight, April 23rd at the Case Nacero Center. There are flyers on the back table. Great having you all here tonight. God bless you. Have a great evening.